Thank you, Kuba. So my name is Kuliberda. I work in TechSoup, and I'm an activist.
Yeah, hi, I'm Chris from iPaństwo Foundation, and I'm a programmer turned activist. And there's a reason that we're here both on the stage and that we made this distinction, activist turned civic activist, programmer turned activist, but we get to that later. We changed the title a bit to Hacking Democracy is Not Easy, because, well, it's not, because also technology is just a tool. And you would like to, like Tin provided you with a lot of challenges about civic sector, and I would like to speak more about the practice.
And we feel like we can speak about it because we are happy collaborators in the project called Transparency. This is in the organizers. So in Transparency, we support organizations that are using technology for democracy. And we do it in different ways. One is this, and we're very happy that you wanted to join us and you wanted to share what you know, you wanted to listen what we know, and you want to discuss. That we will speak to that basically in some time. The second one is the research.
So we're trying to raise the transparency of transparency initiatives. So everybody know what's happening in different organizations, what projects you work on, who personally is from which organization.
So if you go to transparency.org, you can find the projects and organizations from Central and Eastern Europe, and we tried to describe it in the way that will be the most useful for other activists and for other civic tech activists and other technologists.
And finally, we also scaling projects, which means that we taking a project that was successful in one country and we try to implement that in another country by the local organization with the help of a host organization that created the original project.
And those two last, the second and the third activities, they taught us so much about what those values of trust and openness and transparency in practice mean that we couldn't resist and share it with you and tell you the story of our collaboration that sometimes is at least annoying, if not very painful. Transparency, when developing a project, that when scaling a project, we invite one organization, we're in the middle, I'm an activist, I am communication-oriented person, and Krzysiek is on the side of helping the technology to be the best possible for the given case.
And that's just two of us, but there are a lot of other people involved, some of them here in the audience, from Georgia, from Hungary, from Ukraine, from many different countries. And we we try to animate all those projects, and we have to communicate with everybody. And actually, we found out the communication is the key for building this successful project.
And we're very lucky. We brought Polish, so we communicate in Polish. But we speak such different languages. My language is NGO. I use the word sustainability. I use outputs and outcomes, and I use synergy in a way that Krzysiek would never think. I use also long-term strategy and social change. That's one of my favorite.
I'm speaking about issues, tasks, how many mandates it will take, what we need to code, what we need to parse or scrape, and we will use this framework or this platform. And many times we're even using the same words with completely different meaning.
Framework is our favorite. When I'm speaking framework, that's the framework of the project. My budget, my timeline, my relationships around. Your framework is completely different. I never
Like
got it.
WordPress, Django, Rails, yeah.
So
It's good to know, like, to figure out we're speaking about different things at the beginning and not at the end.
well, right now we're almost a year after starting the collaboration. So right now we know what are our holes in communications.
But at the beginning it was hard.
Yes, I was asking Krzysiek for so many Skype calls that he was basically not responding to my emails for that. And
I was proposing some tools like
Slack, GitHub.
And you know, like for me, like GitHub, it's so good. Like everything is there, open. You can see, like it's kind of like documentation and project management tool, but everything is there. It's like transparent. Everybody can join the discussion. It's super clear. And I don't like understand like why we need those Skypes. Like we can just, you know, talk there online. Do we have really to talk in person on the Skypes?
And
like,
I come from the world that people are using actual sentences instead of one-liners. So I need to make sure that my sentence has a verb and a noun inside, and that makes a structure and a framework for my NGO brain.
So we kind of have to, yeah, to meet in the middle.
I learned a bit of GitHub, and Krzysiek got to like Skypes with me. But also what we learned while doing the research, that Krzysiek is this, I'm very lucky to have a technologist who is happy to collaborate with me, because I can always say, I have no idea what you mean by that. And then he's telling me all these wonderful stories, what was behind in his brain, and the assumption was that everybody knows it. And I'm in the role of saying, no, you're the 1%. And to be at like somebody who opens the door for everybody else to the beautiful world of technology. And that's, I feel very privileged that I can be actually this person who is constantly annoying him with my questions. So what is this? Why do you use this acronym? What is API? Can you explain it to a normal person? How does it work? And then he comes up with all those amazing metaphors that I reuse when speaking to even less advanced technology NGOs.
And it's getting out of the comfort zone for like all the sides that are involved, and like, you know, from the like programmer perspective, it's like the NGOs are, you know, like you have to make the strategic plan to fundraise, so on. And I could just, you know, like sit overnight and develop this thing. Probably not, but then so it's like kind of hard to wait 6 months and like for the project just to start and talking before actually doing anything with.
And I'm so incredibly jealous every time Krzysiek is like writing me on Facebook, because he doesn't want to write in the email, because this is his life, and he's like, oh, just for fun, I did this app, look. And I'm sitting over some strategic planning and communications with a lot of different partners, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I would love to be able to do that, but on the other side, I know that I come from the world that defines action like that. So I learned about the action, like action in practice.
On the side note, like don't write the app and overnight. Yeah, then we like land with the 300 apps that Tin was mentioning, probably even more. There was some of them not used because they didn't have the defined users who are gonna sustain the platform support later on, and so on and so on.
And that's the benefit, and that's the benefit for this investment of communication between each other. Because I know some stuff, he knows a lot, and we also know a lot of people to ask. It takes time. That's why the coding for one night is not enough. If you want to bring change, if you want to hack democracy, democracy is just too complicated of a system to be hacked because of an app that just happened during the night.
And we need somehow to, like during these events, during collaboration, we need somehow to close this gap. It's like we have so many, the geek versus NGO culture, it's quite different, and we need to try to connect ourselves.
And like the baseline for our cooperation was the respect towards each other and the respect for our skills and kind of trust and faith, I would say, sometimes unjustified, but I hope it will come with in a time, that from our collaboration, something better would happen than from our actions individually. And no matter if it's hard to communicate with me because I use strange European Union language in order to defend my project, or however difficult words Krzysztof are using, it's still worth spending an hour explaining what do we mean by that.
So we need to be open, we need to listen, we need to talk about our experience, to give context, and like demanding like more from ourselves and from each other.
Because it's also about the fear of feeling stupid. Like, because if I can admit that I don't understand something, that's a huge something. Like people that knows me, they would say like that doesn't happen often. I don't say like I don't understand. I will dig later on, but it will take a lot of time. So for me, it's a lot to just admit that I don't know something and that I feel stupid, and please can you explain it to me? So that's something. But on the other side, a lot of times I was challenging Krzysiek in something that was so obvious for him that it took some time for him to find the right words to describe what is it exactly. And then there is the whole culture of working as well. So as you can see, I speak a lot, for example, and I have the strategic plans, and I need to talk it through. Why?
Whereas, yeah, I would like to, well, it's kind of, like putting it to the extremes, but, like doing it agile way, starting with zero assumptions, prototyping, then testing, like don't have like defined outcomes, rather to see what's happening on the way. So operationally speaking, it's also hard to merge, and when you have a given budget for the IT company, whereas you have to do something, whereas they pay developers by hour, and it's kind of hard for them to define like what we really need to do apart from this general plan written in NGO words,
And that takes a lot of time, and this is one of my biggest learnings from this project. It's completely operational, but I will share it with you. When I'm asking somebody to make an app, and I'm asking Krzysiek how much money it will be, he's saying 60 hours. That doesn't help at all, because also there is a difference in Romania, there is a difference in Ukraine, there is a difference in Hungary. So I'm expecting him to define the numbers for me that are not ours. But we learn on our way.
Yeah, we learn a lot, and we learn a lot through talking a lot and meeting. So it's really good to be here on PDF Ukraine, on PDF Poland, all those conferences, to meet and different, also online, to talk.
So before we will give you the final recommendation for overcoming the gap between NGOs and techies, I would love to recommend going to transparency.org and look at the outcomes of our collaboration and trying to explain one word to them to each other. But there is a recommendation from us.
Yeah, really short one.
Yes. No matter how strange you are to each other, please do talk to each other. We overused some prawa autorskie.
No, actually, these monsters are from social campaign in Warsaw public transport.
But we found them so accurate that we couldn't resist for using them. And that was done with public money. There is a huge discussion about public money and copyrights, so we will leave you with that. Thank you.
Thank you.
So with the final question from us, you talk to each other, but in the end, do you separate your job, or in the end, you have become more high-tech and learn how to code or something like that, and vice versa?
Well, yeah, of course, we are learning a lot, and all the people that are in the process, all the organizations, they are learning a lot, I guess, as well. But I think the thing is that, you know, it's a really small group of people actually that are involved. And what we want, I think that some of our following presentations will elaborate on that. We need to document everything. We need to document what challenges that happen on the way, what are our solutions to overcome there, to share code, to share data, like really to build a big knowledge base that others could use. Thinking, like while building that, thinking about how others will use that.
I'm learning GitHub in a way of trying to understand how does documentation work there, and I fall in love with Slack a bit as well. So yes, I do learn a lot. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Maria. And